Welcome to WERKS. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you do, please like, subscribe, and comment. Today's video is on the installation of the Schar's Quick Change tool post on my Grizzly Go768 lathe. I'm doing a facing cut on the end of some cold rolled steel, and the Quick Change tool post setup is working pretty well and left a great finish. You can see the chips coming off the tool, and the chip breaker is doing its job. I did use the live center to set the height of the tool, and there is no nub left on the stock indicating an off-center adjustment of the tool. The installation required a modified screw to be made for the install. Here's the drawings, and you can pause the video to get the dimensions, write them down, or screenshot them and save. The first drawing is the original Grizzly screw dimensions, and the second drawing is the dimensions of the new screw that you purchase and modify for the installation. And the third drawing is the dimensions I used to make the new screw for the Quick Change tool post. You should make sure the screw is a press fit, which required me to disassemble and then reassemble the compound rest a few times. I suggest you do the disassembly and reassembly to verify the dimensions of your machine and make sure that the screw is a light press fit. I have speeded the video up. I had the bolt chucked up, and I'm doing a facing cut to bring the head dimension to 3.3 millimeters. I made the head height a little bigger and turned to 3.3 millimeters. I also made the head diameter a little larger and turned it to 15.66 millimeters. I did this so that the head was a light press fit as well as the screw. You really do not want this screw to turn. You will see me check the dimensions quite often because I'm sneaking up on the dimensions, and I want the fit as exact as I can get it to ensure that I get a light press fit on the head of the screw. I keep things a little oversized because it is easier to remove metal than to add metal to a part. I'm also still learning the lathe, and the dial screws are not the most user-friendly to read on the lathe. Remaking the dial screws might be a future project, and if you want to see that, leave a comment. Next, I'm turning the head diameter, and this is an interrupted cut. An interrupted cut means the tool is cutting, it stops cutting, and then starts cutting again. This interrupted cut is caused by the flats of the hex head of the bolt, and as I get the head turned down, it will become a continuous cut. The interrupted cut is hard on the machine and tools because of the stress created by the start and stops and should be avoided if possible. Again, I'm sneaking up on the dimension to ensure that I get a light press fit. I also stone the cuts to remove any burrs created by the cutting process, as well as using a file, and this helps with more accurate measurements. I cut the chamfers on the top and underside of the head to remove any sharp edges. I also like to clean the tools as I take them out of the tool post. This ensures that they are ready to be used when I pick them up and install and use them later. A few people in the past have assumed the Grizzly screw is screwed into the compound, but it does not screw in. They have tried to unscrew the Grizzly bolt and enlarge the press fit hole in the compound so much that you can no longer press in a screw securely. It is a press fit. It must be pressed out and a new bolt pressed in. It is an interference fit, and I just made the parts to match the Grizzly screw had with the exception of the diameter and thickness of the head and screw. I used a nut on the bolt to protect the threads from damage while pressing the bolts in and out. It was my first time using the little arbor press, so I was not the most graceful operator, but I got the job done. Here's a shot of the Grizzly bolt and shows the marks from being pressed in on the shoulder near the head. I did stone and file a few areas on the bolt that were raised and marred to get them back to smooth, because I may have to put it back in and modify a dimension on the new screw. Next, I show the compound bore, where the bolts are pressed in and out of. It's not a terrible bore, and I did end up deburring the entrance and exit holes of the bore with a swivel blade tool. You can also see the boss on the upper side of the compound. I left this intact, but some people machine it off. I left the boss on to keep things as close to the original as I could, plus it gave me more area for the press fit of the screw. After pressing the screw into the compound, I then started to install the quick change tool post. I placed the compound on the carriage and inserted the gib. After installing the gib, I inserted the screws to hold the compound rest and wheel. I then started to adjust the gibs for the right feel of tightness or looseness of the compound by tightening or loosening the gib screws and then turning the compound handle for the feel. I did this a few times until I felt it was just right. Kind of like Goldilocks. Not too tight, not too loose, but just right. Next, I placed the quick change tool post on the compound, and I needed to take it apart and reassemble it so that the quick change tool post locking handle was in the correct position and did not interfere with anything because of its placement. It's not that difficult, but it's important that it's placed correctly because damage to the machine and or injury to you may happen. You can also see that I placed a supplied spacer over the boss and onto the compound. Also, you may notice that the screw is really sticking out of the quick change tool post. This is where you may want to cut it to length or wait until it's completely finished. I did tighten the nut to hold the quick change tool post and ensure that it functioned as intended. I hope you enjoyed the video and got something from it.
Thank you for watching WERKS, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, please give a thumbs up, subscribe for future videos, and comment. Thanks again.